Go, baby. Chomping at the bit for this one. Champing at the bit? Champing. It's actually either one. Hypercorrect is chomping. The everyman says it, chomping.
Yeah, everybody
the fancy man says champing. What is everybody? Welcome to the pregame show. Let's
go.
We don't have vote here today, so I got to do it. Presented by Bet365. Never ordinary. Tonight doesn't feel ordinary at all. Scoring out of control in the NBA. We're going to be talking about that. Man. Last night was an all-time random night in the NBA. It really was.
Dude, there was something in the barometric pressure.
There was something going on last
Mercury?
night.
Yeah, dude. Mercury.
It's in retrograde?
The Phoenix Mercury were in retrograde last
night. Something was going on because there was some crazy performances that we have to talk about. Also, this morning you wake up and one of the best teams in the NBA fired their rookie coach.
Yeah.
You
woke up around noon?
Well, okay. All right. Maybe not when I woke up. I'd already done a show, Harrison. I'd already been doing it.
You're very
busy. And then, of course, tonight, maybe the scoring doesn't end because you're playing a team with no defense. So maybe there's some crazy scores. To talk about it all, man with the wind in his hair, Harrison Wind.
I was excited to watch friend of the show, Bruce Brown, tonight. But won't be able to.
You will not. You will not be able to. It's weird having you in that chair. It's been a while since you've been there.
I feel weird in this chair.
It's been a while.
There's probably wingworms or something on your bottom.
Yeah, to me, it's hypercorrect.
It's hypercorrect to have him there.
He used to be over there all the time. It feels right to look over and see Adam and Harrison.
Yeah. The uncool side of the couch?
Oh, come on!
I mean, like the couch is cool. This is not the couch. I mean,
yeah.
Over there, I've got D-Line Go, the cool one. D-Line Go.
That's right. Me and Dev making this couch cool as hell. We don't get our own seat, but we don't want it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're like Voltron of cool.
There you go. And then, of course, the real cool one, Superstar Dev.
Well, you guys already know things that make me happy. Early games. This one is at 5 o'clock. Oh, beautiful. And then on top of that, they get to go against the Pacers. Oh, we're all going to be happy tonight. Everybody's going to be happy.
If it's an early game, Dev's getting to that point within a minute of the show.
Yeah.
The first thing out of his mouth is about the start time.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
I am ready.
It always is. Man's very conscious of
I
start
can't wait
time.
to see what the bets are, honestly, later in the show. I'm very excited for it because I'm hopeful that this game is one of those 135, 115 kind of games.
Yeah, Dev would be happier for the Nuggets to lose an early game than to win a late game.
That's true.
Oh, man. And then go into overtime or something? Like, no way. Don't even do that to me.
Nuggets are in Indiana, middle of their road trip. What do you got for us game notes-wise?
Well, the Pacers made that Bruce Brown trade a few games ago. They got Pascal Siakam. They're 0-2 with Pascal Siakam, though, and also without Tyrese Halliburton, who's been out and is also out tonight. That's the big injury news for the Pacers.
So he played in Portland last Saturday. They lost to Portland, by the way, and they didn't like how his body responded to that.
That's a little scary.
First of all, they came out and said they play. So they go that game, they lose, and then they go to Phoenix, and they're like, "Yeah, it's just injury management. We're going to take it slow with the hamstring." And then to come out and say, "Actually, he's out even longer. We don't like." Dude, hamstrings are the scariest injury.
Yep.
For that very reason.
And now they said he's out the next 3 games, I believe, minimum.
Dude, they don't have it. They honestly don't have it to spare. So that's a big loss for them. Not that we're not thinking too much about the Pacers.
So they lost that game to the Blazers, and they lost to the Suns by 7 the other night. But this is Pascal Siakam's home debut in Indiana. So there's going to be some extra juice behind that for sure. For the Nuggets, 2 guys on the injury report, Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter Jr., both are available. Gordon with that shoulder sprain, the shooting shoulder, and MPJ illness. But both those guys are good to go. They'll both be in the starting lineup. Julian Strawther is still out for the Nuggets with that knee. It's been out for a while.
Has been out for a while. Has been out for an awful long time. Also, the illness. Michael Porter did not seem, knock on wood, too affected by the illness. I kind of figured that was one of those you woke up with a scratchy throat and then felt fine. So I'm kind of surprised that 2 days later he's still there dealing with the illness. That's a bummer.
Yeah, powered right through it.
Don't you feel like there's only two types of illness? There's the I
COVID
didn't feel
and non-COVID?
Yeah, that, yes, for sure.
That actually is the right.
But I just mean I have a headache, and usually that's a 1 day illness. And then there's like a week-long illness or something. Most illnesses are the 1 day variety.
Yeah. I mean, there's like that thing where, you just like, it depends on.
I'm not feeling too good today, guys. I'm
There's
gonna go
like
home
the
early.
guy in the office that always like has an illness for 6
Yeah,
months.
that's
It's like
true.
I'm not, I've got a scratchy throat, whatever. Yeah, right. I know. Kale's hopefully not watching this. Oh wait, he's producing. Shoot. But then you're right. Then there's you're like, bro, go home. So but credit to Mike. He powers through.
He does power through, man. I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah. The Pacers, though, I mean, they're kind of in flux without Halliburton. They're starting TJ McConnell. They've got Andrew Nembhard behind him. They've kind of opened up their bench a little bit more with these injuries that they had. They were without their backup center, Isaiah Jackson, who I actually kind of like. I think he's pretty good. But he is back tonight. He was dealing with a concussion. He's missed the last couple games as well. So they've got their backup center back in the rotation tonight. Definitely, something to consider with how bad the Nuggets backup centers have been. Seriously.
It is something to consider. It is something to consider. Any other notes?
That's all I got.
Well, it brings us to the Circle K Who's Gonna Eat segment of the night. Who is gonna eat?
Me.
What are you gonna eat?
Probably some chips.
Okay. Which ones are you thinking over here?
I go original. I'm a sort of like an old school gent.
Cheese and caramel, two foods I love.
Real classic.
But what about when you put them together?
What about some,
Salty and
stomach
some
ache.
roasted nuts?
Presented by Circle K. All right, so who is gonna eat though? D-Line, you start us off.
Jokic. Jokic is going to eat tonight. Jokic is looking at a big plate of Burek, and he's salivating. I mean, he just went off against this team however many days ago. They now have Siakam, but he's not going to guard Jokic, or at least if he does, it'll be sparingly. So, I mean, he's 30 points minimum.
30 points minimum?
Yeah.
Jesus.
What about maximum?
31 points.
All right. 30 points, you guys. Who do you think's going to eat tonight, Dev?
I think Jamal eats
Okay.
in this type of game. He's been very aggressive shooting the basketball. Also, he has, and I think that everybody that gets to play, a lot with McConnell, they just get chippy because he's a guy that wants to just be up on you the entire time. The last time they played each other, McConnell got a couple of strips, but also he got to use his body, and that kind of pissed off Jamal. So I think that when you play against a player that's playing their hardest the entire time, especially with Jamal, who kind of is lackadaisical, he's going to have to turn it up.
Nikola Jokic is going to eat tonight for sure. Do you guys remember his stat line from the last Pacers game? Any recollection of it?
It was like 39, 12, and 9.
He almost had a perfect triple-double. He had 25, 12, and 9, so Sombor double, but he shot 12 of 13. He shot 12 of 13 in a 8-point Nuggets win. So he had his way offensively against Miles Turner a couple weeks ago. I think that will be the case tonight.
I think I'm with you. I think Jamal's going to eat tonight. I just feel like this is a matchup for him. He is going to have size advantage. And we're kind of on the every other game thing right now. It was, Boston phenomenal. Washington wasn't bad. It just wasn't a Murray game. Tonight, Murray game.
Yeah.
So I think Murray is poised to eat.
One other note to consider. Do you guys know who's officiating tonight's game?
I have heard a rumor. It was a real dirty, rotten scoundrel.
Mr. Ben Taylor. Back on the call for Nuggets Pacers.
That crooked mother effer?
The guy who gave Jokic the flopping technical against the Pistons a few weeks back.
So do you think that he tries to overcall plays, or do you think he's like,
Jokic
no,
fouling out tonight.
I'm still against this guy and I'm about to prove it to y'all? Like, which side do you think you get?
I kind of feel like it's a thing where if there's something happens, you got to be on the lookout for some shenanigans.
No way. Here's the thing. I'm telling you, there are Ben Taylor is of the Joey Crawford mold. His issues are that he is a psychopath.
And short.
Yeah, no, like he is a psycho. He is actually he is short, but he is, which I also don't love. You know that, but he is a guy who is an egomaniac. So there's no way he's gonna do the zig where it's like, you know what, I don't want to draw attention to myself. He's gonna do the like, I'm gonna show him who's the sheriff in town tonight. Jokic better not so much as whip a head back, or I'm calling him for a flopping foul.
Oh man,
I think Yoke's a lock. Now that you say this, he's a lock to get 2 fouls early on. It's going to be annoying.
So who's going to eat tonight? Ben Taylor?
Ben Taylor's going to eat tonight, man. That man is going to go off. You've never seen anybody eat like him. Speaking of eating, last night, you guys, I saw a scoring output I had never seen before. Kevin Durant, back-to-back nights, 40-point games. 43 he had last night. Incredible on a second night. To watch a guy do his thing and put up shots like that, I couldn't believe it.
I'm actually like 40 points used to be a whole damn lot.
Yeah.
That used to be a crazy good game.
Yeah.
That was like one of the games of the night on a typical night. He was not even the top 2. Like,
Wait, oh, you're right. Hold on, I'm checking here. Karl Anthony Towns had 62 last night.
Wow.
doesn't
All-timer.
count. They lost.
Karl Anthony Towns scored 62 though. Like he's talented, but he is who he is. On top of that, but 62 is a lot for a center. On top of that,
wait a second.
It's a center.
It wasn't even the most. Joel Embiid had 70 points last night.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Jokic had 41 on
Yeah, 42.
42. Jokic had 42 points, fourth highest of the week. It's Tuesday. There's only been 2 days worth of games. It's already down to fourth. In all sincerity, though, I want to talk about these games. Embiid's 70 piece. You could say what you want. I'm going to make an announcement here, and I think I'm going to be a very unpopular person in the chat. I think Nuggets fans can chill a little. Like, Embiid's having a great year. He's doing
Unbelievable.
stuff. And
God bless America.
I have
God bless America.
There are some weird.
say, can you see?
There are some weird undertones to every GD thing about anything that happens with Jokic, Embiid, this or that. But you do at sometimes, in my opinion, have to tip your hat and be like, yeah, no caveat needed. That was a hell of a performance. 70 points doesn't happen very often, and he did it with everything, some jumpers and this or that. I thought it was really impressive, but at the same time, it is one of these things where KD had 43, and it honestly is not noteworthy because numbers are so insane that 43 points is like, yeah, he's a scorer. He scored 43.
Dude, on the same night, a guy almost doubled him in production. Like, doubled in points.
Like almost
Which is
double.
insane. And then also, the Spurs, they blow. But also, he's going against one of, like, the top defenders. Like, Wemby is known for his... He had no chance. He had no chance against him. Like, he did him very bad. And really, you could say whatever you want about Embiid. You can say whatever you want about Karl Anthony Towns. And you are going to say a lot about him. But 60 and 70, like, respectively, is incredible. That's a feat.
Yeah, like to think back to what Embiid did against the Nuggets when he was just hitting jumper after jumper, unguardable. That's what he did last night, except he almost doubled it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, he was unstoppable in that game against the Nuggets. Denver had no answer. He made every shot. He did that just like 2 times against the Spurs last night.
But scoring really is, and I said this on Today on All NBA Show talking with Legler, but Jokic has entered a zone. If Jokic has a game, if tonight Jokic has 23 points, 11 rebounds, 9 assists, it kind of feels like a 40th percentile game because his numbers are so absurd that 23 points, that's not that impressive. 11 rebounds, not really that impressive. 9 assists, why didn't he get the triple-double? Not even triple-double. It just becomes a down game. Embiid is at the point now where 33 points, if he scores 33 points, you're almost like, that's not even that's like kind of a bad game.
Yeah, that's his baseline. They put that as his number every single time. You kind of already can pencil him in for 30. He finishes with like 24 points in the first half. Like, it's insane how he's getting it. But also, this type of score and like barrage, like, it puts attention on other guys who are also having monster games. You just talked about a good game from Jokic, and people are not going to see it as that because these numbers are so insane. What is happening?
I'll tell you what's happening. I mean, this is just where the game is going, man.
It is. I hate it, but it is.
I hate it too. That was actually my real take watching all this last night. I hate it. It sucks.
If he would have passed Kobe's 81, I think that a lot of people would have hated it.
Dude,
And there was a moment where I thought he was gonna. I was
You
like,
can't play defense anymore in the NBA. You can't play it for 4 quarters. Maybe you can play it for 2. You can get to the line by just falling.
yeah.
It's absurd. I mean, in a way, it's ruining the game, I think, but it's just the trend that we've been heading towards the last several years.
If you look at all of the record, like Wilt's record, Oscar Robertson's triple-double, if you look at all of those, they happened in the same season. And almost every crazy output in scoring or just rebounding, whatever it is, they almost all happened between 1961 and 1963 because there was this point in time when basketball, for whatever reason, became an up and down. Like, you don't even think. You just dribble up and jack up a shot. And then there's 100 rebounds a game. So guys would average 30 rebounds. And, like, the numbers were all absurd. And when we talk about the history of the NBA, most people don't know that. They just know Wilt's 100-point game, average 50 points, Oscar triple-double, this or that. I kind of feel like we're having one of those years where all the numbers are so going to be so tilted. And look, Jokic benefits from this as well. Like, that's a reason there's a lot of guys around the triple-double mark. But it is one of those things where, as cool as it is, this has been a 3 or 4 year thing where we've been moving to this where I just look at it and I'm like, we're going to look back on this era and either basketball is just this forever and no previous era was impossible, or we're just going to never break the records of the 2024 season.
Maybe. Yeah.
It's entirely possible. We also, it's like the 3-point line is now such a thing. Like, even I doubt it was such a big deal back in those. It was even a.
It wasn't even there. Yeah,
wasn't even there. So like,
it was 20 years away from being there.
We've got Morey ball plus up and down basketball. Plus, it is like a weird. This is like a weird. I mean, in a lot of ways, it's more entertaining. You know, like buckets are fun. I like buckets.
Yes and no.
I mean, we're spoiled with ethical, beautiful basketball, technically sound, thinking man's basketball.
But I
like
think there's something to, like, I've always said this, and again, you're right that I do have to understand my own bias. But that 55 piece that Dame put on the Nuggets in the playoffs, where the Nuggets won in overtime, I've always said that's one of my most annoying great performances because he had like a 30-point night. And then he drew a bunch of fouls to send it to overtime, and then he hit just enough shots in between the foul drawing, and everyone remembers the shots. But he had just as many shooting fouls because his jersey got caught in Austin Rivers' arm when Austin Rivers was doing this, and somehow he hooked his arm and goes into it. So part of me goes that, I mean, look, I don't know if everyone feels this way, but part of me goes, I am a little, look, I'm not taking away from Embiid because I watched that game. I thought he actually deserves it. But I do think there's something too when it happens every night. I do look at it and go, I don't know, Donovan Mitchell has the all-time greatest scorers in NBA include Donovan Mitchell, Devin Booker, you know, like
Karl Towns.
Damian Lillard. You're like, all right, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it meant more, like, when people were putting up these, like, type of feats. And it's not to say, because I think Joel is, like, one of the top scorers there is.
All time, yeah.
But it should be for sacred ground. There's some things that should be untouchable. Karl-Anthony Towns shouldn't be in that, you know. But also, we're starting to see it so often that there is going to be a random guy that gets it that is going to piss us off.
Well, I'm telling you, Karl-Anthony Towns. Everybody, thank God for Karl-Anthony Towns' sake that everybody was paying attention to Embiid last night because I also watched that Minnesota game, and I am telling you, I have never seen vibes like that before.
Did you see what the coach did after the game?
Did I see? Of course I did.
Livid.
And to clarify, they lost to Oklahoma City in Minnesota on Saturday. Everybody's watching football. Nobody noticed. But that was a big win, and they were up from the start until the last 3 minutes or 2 minutes, and then OKC rallied and beat them. That's a tough loss. You're the number 1 seed. The number 2 seed comes into your building and beats you, and they tie or go one behind you in the loss column. That's a bad loss. You follow it up with Karl-Anthony Towns going off like that. Anthony Edwards kind of threw a fit on the court while they were winning. He was like, well, then I'm not shooting tonight, and just kept passing. It felt like an exhibition game, and then it came back to bite them in the ass, and they lost. And I'm telling you guys, I think the Timberwolves last night was a pivot point in their season. It's not saying they can't overcome it, but I'm saying it is not certain that their season did not come to a crashing halt last night because of how bad the vibes were. Yeah. That he and the team were like, oh, well, this is weird. He's on fire. Let's just give it to him and not. Anthony Edwards passed him and stand and look at him like this while he does stuff and shoots it. And then they lost to the Hornets.
It was so uncomfortable to watch because they were feeding Towns, force feeding him. And Charlotte was like catching up, and you're like, well, this is awkward. And then, have you ever seen a player get benched in the fourth quarter
bro.
in the middle of a 60-point game?
He had 60 points and got taken out in the clutch.
He got benched during a 60-point game.
And then they put him in to shoot the game winner. He airballs it. He misses it by 5 feet. And I'm not kidding. If you look at Anthony Edwards' face as the shot goes up, that team to me looked like, if that happened to the Nuggets, I would be in panic mode about it. And then afterwards, you go and say immature. And you watch Anthony Edwards after the game had the interview. And I'm not trying to put words in his mouth. I just think he was uncomfortable. But he said something like, yeah, man, thanks to Towns. That was great to watch. 60 points. Wow. It was like so weird, dude. I'm telling you. So Minnesota, I would say, is on, for a team that is at the 1 seed and has never been the 1 seed late in the season, they are somehow on collapse watch because it was that bad of a game.
I haven't heard a lot of Anthony Edwards is the next best player in the league takes in a while.
Well, do you want to know what else happened?
Haven't heard that take in a while.
Do you know what else happened on Saturday? He got absolutely outplayed by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and then after the game, he complained about foul calls. And I just remember going like, bro, that's a tough look to be outplayed in the clutch by a guy and then go and whine about foul calls. Anthony Edwards should be above that. 2 games in a row, Anthony Edwards has looked, like you said, not the next guy, and also a little whiny.
Yeah, and then the clutch last night against Charlotte, he was terrible.
So, something to watch for. In other teams collapsing,
Nuggets can catch them today, by the way.
They can catch him for the 1 seed?
Yes.
Oh, that's incredible. Other teams collapsing, the Milwaukee Bucks, who own a 30-13 record. That's a pretty good record. Fired their coach.
So wild.
They fired their coach after a 30-13 record. Adrian Griffin is out. Now, look, the Bucks have had the weirdest year because they have been the number 1 seed or the number 2 seed. They have had a very good year, but something feels off there.
Yeah.
Things feel off. But, Dev, nobody's ever been fired at 30-13 before without a scandal.
Nobody ever tried to get rid of the Giannis brother. I'm telling you, that's what had to happen. That dude he blows.
That's the actual problem in
He's
Milwaukee.
ass. And he's
the worst player
playing
in
a
the
couple
NBA.
of minutes, and he probably was like, hey, bro, we got to get him out of here. Giannis was like, hey, make it happen. But also, like, even though they're winning, that is not a good team. Like, they play zero defense whatsoever, and they have some defenders on their team. I feel like Giannis is always happy. Right now, he's not happy. Lillard, I mean, he's on the team. I'm sure that vibes have changed with him there. Like, they don't have the pieces, like, of just having vibes. They just have very talented players right now, and then they had a young coach who can't maneuver that. So I do think that the writing was on the wall for him, but that's wild for them. He didn't even get a chance. You don't even get a chance. It was just like, you're not performing to your abilities. We're out of here. I'm telling you, it was that. Have you guys seen the highlight tapes of
Dude, he's
Thanasis?
so bad. He's actually really bad.
Oh my God. That's what I'm telling you, that's what it is.
I love it's a credit to how difficult it is to say Antetokounmpo that you called him the Giannis brother.
You think that they deserve a name?
It's insane. Wow. Like I mean, we were kind of talking about this. I mean, there's always everything. There's things behind the scenes, whatever. But from the outside looking in, like the Michael Malone era has been relatively smooth from a player and operation standpoint. You know, whether or not how it all shakes out throughout the entire organization, who knows? But like, it's something you really can't take for granted. Like, there has been like stability in Denver for a long time, which is something difficult to achieve in such a hyper competitive league where people, you know, there's so many millions of dollars invested in every season that people are just getting fired. Man, I can't believe he got fired. That was the last thing I was expecting to happen. I mean, I understand that it's best to rip the Band-Aid now if you really feel like he's not the guy, and it sounds like he's not.
That's what it was, because it was kind of an open secret that he was a really bad coach.
They're on a 2-game win streak, too.
It was an open secret throughout the league that he was a really bad coach. But this is another lesson that you never, under any circumstances, I don't care who it is, you never let the players pick the coach.
This is what happened. Nobody
because
knows,
this
is what happened.
was Giannis's guy. They fired Mike Budenholzer, great coach, won them a freaking championship, but just wasn't quite good enough in the playoffs. They bring in Giannis's guy, terrible coach, bad hire. They get him out of there, and now they're going to bring in Doc Rivers.
Dude, Doc Rivers is a hilarious guy. Because that was the other part of it is you don't fire a coach on a contender without an immediate plan. Like, you don't go like, we'll figure this out through the course of the year. You have a guy, immediately the reports
You mean it's not going to be Joel Prunty?
It is funny that the reports came out right away of Doc Rivers is currently considered the lead candidate. Like, come on, guys, just come out and say it. They have him ready to go.
It's like when Woj is trying to not tip the pick. He's like, there's
Lasering
zeroing in.
Laser on, yeah. I just think it's hilarious. What's even best about this is you have now Doc Rivers, the 76ers old coach, and the Bucks on a collision course for each other in the playoffs. You guys, narrative apocalypse. This playoffs is already shaping up to be a narrative apocalypse for everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone
is this a simulation?
We are setting up the ultimate.
If this
narrative
was a
playoffs.
simulation, this is how the script would be.
There's actually a chance it's the apocalypse.
It might actually just be an apocalypse. We'll find out. All right, everybody's favorite part. Open up the Bet365 app and let's throw all of our money on this random game.
I will tell you guys that petty NBA is the best NBA, and I'm glad we're getting back to those days. Denver opens this game as 5.5-point favorites on the road. And it's going to take some time for this Pacers team to figure it out, especially with their best player in and out of the lineup. This is their home opener of their new lineup without Tyrese Halliburton. This team isn't big enough. They're not physical enough to hang around with Denver. Also, you just talked about it. Denver can catch Minnesota in the standings after this win. They're going to get a win. They're going to win by 5.5. Let's just lock it in. 5.5. Denver is also favored by -3 in the first half. I like this. You got to take advantage of that. They're going to get off to a good start and be able to just take off in this game. So -3 is just a bit too easy. As far as the over-under with the Pacers, it always depends on if they have Halliburton. If he plays, they're a completely different team. They just play a lot faster. He's not playing in this one, so I'm going to go under 239.
Okay.
Just because they have a different type of pace. I like the under. But I do like Denver's team total. I think they score. I just don't think that the Pacers are going to try to score. I think they try to slow it down a bit. Denver might have to try to push the pace.
You don't like the Pacers' pace?
You get it.
All right.
You get it. Someone has to score for the Pacers, right?
They don't have to.
This has a chance to be
They
like
don't have to.
They might be like truly getting blown out if somebody doesn't score. The line that I look at on the Pacers side of things that are too low is Buddy Hield. Over under 13.5 is just a bit too low. He's going to have to take shots. So I think you could get that. For Pacers.
I can't imagine betting on Buddy Hield right now. But go on.
This one you can get on. The one that I really like is for Miles Turner, under rebounds.
Really?
He's a big man that does not rebound the ball. Like, he just doesn't.
They
It's not his thing. They don't get second chance opportunities. He gets, like, into foul trouble. Like,
It's 6.5?
Jokic does whatever he wants with him. It's going to go under.
Under 6.5.
Under.
All right, I'm taking it just because I think it's
For
hilarious.
Denver, everything is bumped because, there's a bump in pace. So just know that their numbers are a little bit higher.
Okay.
So, I mean, there's things that you just like, oh, no. But let's just start with over 2 3-pointers. So over 1.5 3-pointers for KCP. It's at plus money. Only has to knock down 2.
Ooh,
A
I
lot
like
of
that.
attention goes elsewhere, so I think that he gets it.
You know, I like that.
I also like Jamal Murray over 2.5 3-pointers.
Really?
He's just taking them at a high rate right now. Last game he had 8, and his shot really was not falling.
Plus
He's gonna
money on
keep
it.
Shooting. It's plus money. He's aggressive. He's shooting the ball. I just like it. Let's take the over there. A person who can just ratchet this game up with his physical play is Aaron Gordon. And I think he does that on the boards. His rebounds are at 7.5. That's also plus money. It's a lot of plus money on this one. He's
You
coming
have
off
him
of a
at
game.
7.5?
Yep, he had a double-double last game as well. So I think he does more of that. For our defensive bet, I'm going to go over 2.5 blocks plus steals for Jokic. So the combination of blocks plus steals.
Okay.
And the lock, Jokic triple-double.
Whoa.
Really?
Triple-double.
We haven't had a Yoke triple-double as a lock
We
in
haven't
a
had it
while,
as a lock.
man.
They also have his assists too low. They have it at 8.5. He always gets at least the sum board, so you can get the 8.5 assists. But I think that there's no point of getting close to it. Everybody else's numbers are going insane. He's the favored one. He's the chosen one. We're going to go with the triple-double here. I like it.
You guys know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get reckless tonight. I'm going to go with Christian Brown for a 3.
That is reckless.
Reckless, baby. Let's do it.
I don't love it.
Do you have any reckless bets?
I don't know, man.
Actually, we have a couple super chats. Let's get to these super chats.
Yeah, let's feed the super chats.
Read these super chats. 199 from Cedric Exquisite. Don't jinx us with the refs, Adam. It might happen.
We're just trying to preview the game.
Preview the game. Like, is there?
Just trying to give you
imagine
the
if
lay of the
did
land here.
Like we were being cognizant of not cursing a team while previewing the game. It would be impossible to do.
Also, curses aren't real.
4099.
Whoa, don't curse that.
Cedric comes back into the chat. He says, I wonder what would happen if you called Thanasis that to his face, Dev. Love you, D-line, go Nuggets.
What a
If he
chat,
called
dude.
him to his
What a great
face,
chat.
he'd probably call Giannis to come fight Dev.
He would keep walking. What do you think you're going to do? Fight me? You think he's never been called ass? What?
$5 from Easia. He says, Easia.
It's amazing.
DJ just made a 3 at warm-up, gave the blue arrow. It's a W.
Dude,
Can you imagine if he
That's a
makes
nice
another
pregame
one?
Is that-
report.
is this from inside?
I love when we
is
have-
a super chat coming from inside the stadium?
Inside the field house?
Let's go.
I wonder what he's...
$100 pregame super chat.
Whoa,
That's a record. I don't think we've ever had a $100 pregame super chat
That's
before.
crazy.
monster.
Do we have to?
Road King
I think you have to
Thor.
sing it.
Fellas, I cracked the code.
You don't have to sing it in such a high octave.
That's how it's my singing voice, Win. Let me sing. Embiid is the Dallas Cowboys. Think about it. Goes ballistic against bad teams. Puts up gaudy numbers in the regular season. Is irrationally loved by Skip Bayless and always predictably, hilariously chokes during the playoffs.
Ooh, could be.
That's a good
I
argument.
will say this, man. Like I said, narrative apocalypse, and that even is for Embiid. Like the thing is, the higher he climbs, the higher that cliff becomes in the playoffs, which is good.
Nuggets 76ers is happening.
He has to-
it's pretty much a lock to happen.
He does have to beat the Dallas Cowboy allegations at this point. It's true.
The James Harden allegation. I honestly think he's going to be new Harden if they don't win this year. He'll wear that label, which is tough. Ironically.
Oh,
Hey,
they
they
did.
need $10 super chat. Do you think a Bucks team coached by Doc Rivers can win a chip,
No.
or do you think it will end up like the Sixers did last season? I have my doubts about whether it would end well. I don't think he's as bad a coach as people think, but he is not a great playoff adjuster. That like every coach has a weakness. He's not a great playoff adjuster. That team has an insane talent level.
Yeah.
Nick Nurse, I think, is a better coach than Joe Mazzulla and Doc Rivers.
Agreed.
But you know who I think is a better coach than all of them?
Who's up?
Eric Spoelstra. And I just look at this and I go, my God, Eric Spoelstra right now is looking around going like, oh my God, I just have to outmaneuver the worst maneuvers in the playoffs.
And we
With
got
the team
Terry
way
Rozier.
tougher than all of these teams. I'm telling you, narrative apocalypse in the playoffs
I think the
this year.
Bucks season ends with a very horse Doc Rivers
Epic
epic post-game press
Every
conference
single time.
after a Game 7 loss.
Every time.
Dude, if they beat the 76ers, it's unreal. If the 76ers beat them, it's unreal. Everything is so crazy, man. It is too good.
What about we need to talk about the revolving door between ESPN announcer and coaching.
You just go there and then
Yeah,
come
it's
back.
Steve Kerr, it's Mark Jackson, it's
Yeah.
Doc River. It's just like somehow that's like the bench for potential coaches.
Doc Rivers did not last long, man. That was quick that he went to the booth and came right back out.
Tristan Thompson jumps in there too.
Yeah, well,
He might be jumping back in
Yeah.
there, actually,
jumping
with that suspension.
Provided that ESPN has a more lax drug policy.
All right, we're going to go watch the Nuggets play, everybody. Thanks so much for the super chats. We appreciate them. Hit the like button. We'll see you on the other side.
Let's go.
We all silly like the mayor.